3 people are dead in Union City, Michigan right now. A tornado ripped through that town yesterday and tore homes right off their foundations. And here is what most people do not realize. That was not the end. That was the beginning. The severe weather pattern hitting the United States right now is one of the most aggressive setups we have seen in years, and it is nowhere close to being finished. Over the next 7 days, back-to-back-to-back storm systems are going to hammer this country from Texas to Maine, from the Gulf Coast to the Great Lakes. We are talking tornadoes, damaging winds over 60 miles per hour, hail the size of quarters, flash flooding, and then, believe it or not, a potential blizzard and Arctic outbreak by the middle of March. If you live anywhere east of the Rockies, this forecast directly affects you. Now, here is what I need you to do. Stay with me for the next few minutes because I am going to break down the exact timing of every single storm system. I am going to tell you when storms arrive in your area, when they peak, and when they finally move out. I am covering more than 270 cities and locations across the United States. And at the 5-minute mark, I am going to reveal which specific region faces the highest risk of a strong, potentially violent tornado on Tuesday. That information could save your life or the life of someone you love. So do not go anywhere. And before we dive in, drop a comment right now telling me where you are watching from. Your city, your state. I read every single comment and I will personally respond with what you need to know for your specific area. That is my promise to you. One more thing before we start. Do not forget, we spring forward tonight. Set your clocks 1 hour ahead. Tomorrow at 10:15 in the morning, it is actually going to be 11:15. You lose an hour of sleep, so plan accordingly. If you go to bed at 9 and normally wake up at 6, you are only getting 8 hours instead of 9. Make sure you adjust. Now, that does not change the weather, but it does change when the sun goes down, and that matters for Tuesday. See, it's severe weather because storms that fire in the afternoon have more daylight heating to work with. More heating means more energy, and more energy means stronger storms. It also means it will get dark 1 hour later, which is actually a good thing for severe weather. Nighttime tornadoes are more dangerous because people cannot see them and are often asleep. The extra hour of daylight on Tuesday evening could actually help people visually spot storms. Keep that in the back of your mind. All right, let us get right into it. First, let me show you what already happened because context matters. Yesterday, Friday, March 6th, was an outbreak. We had confirmed tornadoes in southwestern lower Michigan, northeast Oklahoma, not far from Tulsa, northeast Texas, and southwestern Arkansas. The storm report's map lit up like a Christmas tree. Union City, Michigan took a direct hit. 3 people lost their lives. Homes were ripped completely off their foundations. Debris was scattered across the entire town. In northeast Oklahoma, communities that are still recovering from past tornado events got hit again. The damage is real, the heartbreak is real, and the pattern that caused all of that destruction is not leaving, it is reloading. Now, right now, as of Saturday, March 7th, 2026, a massive squall line is marching from Ohio all the way down to central Texas. This is not a small storm. This is a wall of severe weather stretching over 1,000 miles from north to south. Along the leading edge of this line, we are seeing wind gusts between 60 and 70 miles per hour, quarter-sized hail, and the potential for spin-up tornadoes embedded within the line. Now, here is something that makes this particular storm dangerous. These are not the kind of tornadoes you can see coming from miles away. These are rain-wrapped, embedded in a fast-moving squall line, and they can drop on you with almost no visual warning. That is why, if you are under a tornado warning today, you do not wait. You do not go outside to look. You get to your safe place immediately. Let me give you the exact timing for today, Saturday, March 7th. If you are in Ohio, the storms are hitting you right now through early afternoon. Columbus, you are looking at severe weather between noon and 3 in the afternoon Eastern Time. Cleveland, Akron, Canton, your window is noon to 4 in the afternoon. And here is the critical detail. The highest tornado threat today is concentrated right in your area. From Pittsburgh to Akron to Canton, down through Columbus, Lancaster, Zanesville, Athens, and into extreme northern West Virginia. That is where wind shear is the strongest. That is where the atmosphere is most primed to spin up tornadoes. Cincinnati, you are in the path between 1 and 4 in the afternoon. Dayton, same window. Springfield, Ohio, same window. Fort Wayne, Indiana, your storms arrive between noon and 3 in the afternoon Eastern Time. Indianapolis, you are looking at early afternoon through about 4 in the afternoon. Detroit, Michigan, the storms push through between noon and 3 in the afternoon. And I know Michigan is still reeling from yesterday. Union City saw devastation, multiple homes destroyed, 3 lives lost. The entire state needs to stay vigilant today. Now let us move south. This is where heavy rainfall becomes the bigger story on top of severe weather. Dallas, Texas, storms are already firing this morning and will continue through the afternoon. Fort Worth, same situation. Waco, Austin, San Antonio, you are all in the threat zone from late morning through the evening hours. Houston, your storms arrive mid-afternoon and could linger into the overnight. The hail threat is actually largest down in Texas today. Strong updrafts in these storms could produce significant hail, and the instability down there is off the charts. Shreveport, Louisiana, storms arrive mid to late afternoon. Monroe, same timing. The entire Architects region, that is the area where Arkansas, Texas, and Louisiana meet, is going to see training thunderstorms. That means storm after storm moving over the same areas, dropping heavy rain on ground that is already saturated. Little Rock, Arkansas, late afternoon into the evening. Pine Bluff, same window. Jonesboro, your storms come in a bit later, evening hours. Jackson, Mississippi, evening into the overnight hours. Meridian, same timing. Hattiesburg, overnight. The entire state of Mississippi is going to get pounded with 1 to 3 inches of rain on top of what is already falling. Birmingham, Alabama, late evening into the overnight. Montgomery, overnight hours. Tuscaloosa, late evening. Mobile, overnight into early Sunday morning. Memphis, Tennessee, mid-afternoon through the evening. Nashville, late afternoon into the evening. Knoxville, evening hours. Chattanooga, evening into the overnight. Louisville, Kentucky, early to mid-afternoon. Lexington, same window. Bowling Green, mid-afternoon. Now here is a number that should get your attention. The Storm Prediction Center has this severe weather threat rated at a level 2 out of 5 for a huge portion of the country. That yellow zone on the map stretches from Syracuse, New York, all the way down to the Rio Grande. That is millions and millions of people. And the level 1 zone, the dark green area, covers even more territory. Anybody from the Northeast down to the Gulf Coast could see a severe storm today. Let me continue working through the cities. Syracuse, New York, your storms arrive late afternoon into the evening. Rochester, same window. Buffalo, evening hours. Albany, evening into the overnight. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, early to mid-afternoon. That is prime time for the highest tornado threat. Harrisburg, mid to late afternoon. Philadelphia, evening hours. Scranton and Wilkes-Barre, late afternoon. Washington, District of Columbia, late afternoon into the evening. Baltimore, same timing. Richmond, Virginia, evening hours. Virginia Beach and Newport News, you transition into tomorrow's threat as well. Now here is something critical. Do not turn this off thinking the storms end tonight. They do not. As the sun goes down, the main squall line will weaken somewhat, but strong to severe storms will persist overnight, especially from Alabama through Mississippi, Louisiana, and the Gulf Coast of Texas. By midnight, the line starts to fragment, but thunderstorms continue. And here is where it gets interesting. We are not done with severe weather tomorrow either. Sunday, March 8th brings a second round. Now, the good news is that Sunday is going to be a much lower threat than today. The area of concern narrows significantly. We are mainly watching North Carolina and Southeast Virginia. Charlotte, North Carolina, your storms fire up tomorrow afternoon, probably between 1 and 5 in the afternoon. Raleigh, same window. The Research Triangle, Fayetteville, Rocky Mount, Elizabeth City, all in that afternoon time frame. Could see some strong straight-line winds and maybe some hail. Florence, South Carolina, and the area back toward Rock Hill, you are on the southern edge of this threat zone tomorrow afternoon. Virginia Beach, Newport News, Norfolk, you also need to watch tomorrow afternoon and evening. The tornado threat for Sunday is what forecasters call non-zero. It is not impossible, but it is not highly likely. The main concerns are straight-line winds and hail. But here is something a lot of people miss about Sundays after big severe weather days. The atmosphere is still charged, the cold front is still moving, and leftover energy can produce isolated strong storms in unexpected places. So if you are along the coast of the Carolinas, Wilmington, Myrtle Beach, Outer Banks, do not let your guard down completely. And for the Gulf Coast, Mobile, Pensacola, Panama City, Tallahassee, you could still see some residual showers and isolated thunderstorms through Sunday morning as the last of the moisture wraps around. For the rest of the country on Sunday, this is actually a beautiful day. The Four Corners region, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, you are looking at blue skies and sunshine. The desert Southwest is going to be gorgeous. The inner Mountain West, same thing. Even the southern plains start to clear out. This is the calm between the storms, and you should enjoy it because what is coming Tuesday is a completely different animal. Monday, March 9th, is the quiet day for almost everyone. Think of Monday as the deep breath before the plunge. The atmosphere is resetting. Moisture is surging northward out of the Gulf of Mexico. Temperatures are climbing. Dew points are rising. Everything is loading up for Tuesday. If you are in the central United States, Monday might feel like a perfect spring day. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s, light winds, sunshine. Do not be fooled by how nice it is. That warmth is the fuel. The nicer Monday feels, the more dangerous Tuesday becomes. Here are some Monday temperatures to give you a sense of the buildup. Dallas, upper 70s. Oklahoma City, mid-70s. Kansas City, low 70s. Chicago, upper 60s. Indianapolis, upper 60s. Nashville, mid-70s. Memphis, mid-70s. St. Louis, upper 60s. Des Moines, upper 60s. All of these are 10 to 25 degrees above average for early March. The atmosphere is priming itself. Now, I told you at the beginning that the most important information in this video comes at the 5-minute mark. Here it is. Do not skip past this. Tuesday, March 10th is shaping up to be a potentially major severe weather day. And I mean major. The setup is actually stronger than what we saw on Friday when those deadly tornadoes hit Michigan and Oklahoma. Let me explain why. A cut-off low-pressure system that has been spinning near Baja California for days is finally going to get kicked back into the United States by an incoming trough. When that happens, it phases with the northern polar jet stream. And when a southern stream system phases with the northern jet, it is like throwing gasoline on a fire. The energy combines and amplifies dramatically. Now, if you are not a weather person, let me explain what phasing means in simple terms. Imagine two rivers flowing side by side. Normally they just flow parallel, but when they merge into one river, the water volume doubles and the current becomes much more powerful. That is what is happening in the upper atmosphere. Two separate jet stream energy waves are merging into one massive system. And when that happens over the central United States with warm Gulf air feeding in from the south, you get explosive storm development. The Storm Prediction Center already has a Day 4 outlook for Tuesday, highlighting a 15% probability of severe weather from central Texas up through the Midwest. That 15% number might not sound high, but at 4 days out, it is significant, and I expect that number to go up as we get closer. Here is what the atmosphere looks like on Tuesday. A warm front pushes north out of the Gulf of Mexico, pulling incredible amounts of moisture and instability into the central United States. South of that warm front, we are looking at Cape values, that is storm energy, around 3,000 joules per kilogram. For those of you who are not weather nerds, let me put that in perspective. 1,000 joules per kilogram is enough for thunderstorms. 2,000 is enough for severe storms. 3,000 is the kind of energy that produces violent supercell thunderstorms capable of producing strong to violent tornadoes. That is what we are looking at Tuesday. And here is the temperature setup that tells you just how extreme this is. On Tuesday afternoon, southeastern Iowa and northern Illinois could be in the mid to upper 70s. That is in March. Now drive 3 hours north to central Wisconsin, and it could be snowing with temperatures in the mid-30s. A 40-degree temperature difference in a 3-hour drive. When you see a gradient like that in mid-March, you know something significant is happening in the atmosphere. Now let me give you the exact areas and timing for Tuesday, March 10th. The storms begin firing in the late morning to early afternoon across central Texas. Dallas-Fort Worth, your storms could begin as early as noon to 1 in the afternoon central time. These will not be garden variety thunderstorms. These could be supercells, tornadic supercells. Waco, early afternoon. Austin, mid-afternoon. San Antonio, mid to late afternoon. Oklahoma City, storms fire between 1 and 4 in the afternoon central time. Tulsa, same window. And remember, northeast Oklahoma just got hit by a devastating tornado on Friday. These same communities need to be ready again. Joplin, Missouri, afternoon hours between 2 and 6 in the afternoon. Springfield, Missouri, same window. The Ozarks region is right in the crosshairs. Topeka, Kansas, mid to late afternoon. Wichita, afternoon into early evening. Kansas City, mid-afternoon through the evening. Now here is where the forecast gets especially concerning, and this is the part you absolutely cannot miss. The warm front. Everybody focuses on the dry line and the cold front in severe weather setups, and those are important. But we learned a brutal lesson yesterday in Union City, Michigan. Tornadoes can and do form along the warm front. And on Tuesday, that warm front sets up across northern Illinois and into northwest Indiana. The significant tornado parameter, which is a composite measure meteorologists use to identify where the atmosphere is most favorable for strong tornadoes, lights up across northwestern Illinois on Tuesday afternoon and evening. Let me name the cities: Chicago, Illinois, Naperville, Aurora, Rockford, Freeport, the Quad Cities area, that is Davenport, Rock Island, Moline, Bettendorf, DeKalb, Joliet, Kankakee. You need to be on high alert Tuesday afternoon and evening. Des Moines, Iowa, late afternoon into the evening. Cedar Rapids, same window. Iowa City, evening hours. The southeastern Iowa border region is right along that warm front. Waterloo, late afternoon. Dubuque, evening hours. Sioux City, you are further west and drier, so your threat is lower but not zero. Peoria, Illinois, afternoon into evening. Bloomington, Illinois, same timing. Springfield, Illinois, mid-afternoon through the evening. Champaign-Urbana, late afternoon into the evening. Decatur, mid-afternoon. Danville, late afternoon. Quincy, early to mid-afternoon. And let me expand into some more cities that people always ask about. Terre Haute, Indiana, Tuesday afternoon into the evening. Lafayette, Indiana, late afternoon. South Bend, Indiana, evening hours. You are closer to the warm front, so your tornado threat is elevated. Gary, Indiana, late afternoon into the evening. You are part of that Chicagoland corridor that is in the highest risk zone. Madison, Wisconsin, here is the crazy thing. You might see severe thunderstorms in the afternoon and then temperatures dropping into the 30s by Wednesday morning. Severe weather and near freezing temps within 12 hours. That is how extreme this setup is. Milwaukee, you are on the edge. Thunderstorms possible Tuesday evening, but the severe threat diminishes as you go further north into the colder air. Green Bay, your concern is more the transition to winter weather rather than severe storms. Now, I want to explain something about Tuesday's setup that is really important and that most people do not understand. This is the part that separates this video from every other weather video you will watch this week. This is going to be what we call a multi-threat day. That means different parts of the threat zone face different primary hazards. In Texas, along the dry line from Dallas south through Waco, Austin, and San Antonio, the primary threat is supercell thunderstorms with large hail and tornadoes. These storms form along the dry line boundary where hot, dry desert air collides with warm, moist Gulf air. The hail from these storms can be baseball-sized. I am not exaggerating. These updrafts will be incredibly powerful. In the Ozarks region, Joplin, Springfield, Missouri, Fayetteville, Arkansas, the threat transitions to a mix of supercells and line segments. Tornadoes and damaging winds are both significant concerns here. Along the warm front in northern Illinois and northwest Indiana, this is where the tornado threat is the most concerning. Warm fronts are sneaky. The storms that form along them can be deceptively strong, and they can produce tornadoes with very little visual warning because the cloud bases are often low and the storms can be partially rain-wrapped. This is exactly what happened in Union City, Michigan on Friday. The warm front was the trigger. And then behind the main cold front from central Iowa through Missouri and into eastern Kansas, we are looking at a large squall line with primarily damaging straight-line winds. When that line comes through, and it will come through fast, you could see winds gusting over 70 miles per hour. That is enough to snap trees, flip vehicles, and cause widespread power outages. So you see how Tuesday is not just one storm. It is multiple types of severe weather across a vast area of the country. That is what makes this setup so dangerous and so difficult to prepare for. You have to know which threat applies to your specific location. Let me add some more cities to the Tuesday timeline that I have not mentioned yet. Tulsa, Oklahoma, early to mid-afternoon. Bartlesville, Oklahoma, early afternoon. Muskogee, early to mid-afternoon. McAllister, mid-afternoon. Stillwater, early afternoon. Enid, early to mid-afternoon. Dodge City, Kansas, early afternoon along the dry line. Garden City, same. Salina, mid-afternoon. Manhattan, Kansas, mid-afternoon. Lawrence, mid to late afternoon. Fayetteville, Arkansas, mid-afternoon. Fort Smith, Arkansas, mid-afternoon. Bentonville, mid-afternoon. This is a major population center now with all the corporate growth up there, and people need to be paying attention. Columbia, Missouri, mid to late afternoon. Jefferson City, same window. Sedalia, mid-afternoon. And then as Tuesday night progresses, the severe weather does not just stop. it transitions eastward. Between 10 at night and 2 in the morning Central Time, the squall line pushes through central Indiana, central Illinois, and into western Kentucky. If you are a light sleeper and you hear thunder in the middle of the night, that is your cue to check warnings. Have your phone volume turned up. Make sure weather alerts are enabled. Nighttime tornadoes are the deadliest kind because people are asleep and do not hear the warnings. And it does not stop there. As the system progresses Tuesday night into Wednesday, the severe weather threat shifts eastward. Wednesday, March 11th, the threat zone moves to the Ohio Valley, the Deep South, and potentially the Mid-Atlantic. Cleveland, Ohio, you need to watch Wednesday afternoon and evening. Columbus, same. Cincinnati, mid-afternoon through the overnight. Toledo, afternoon. Youngstown, afternoon into the evening. Mansfield, mid-afternoon. Akron and Canton, you just dealt with severe weather on Saturday, and now here comes another round on Wednesday. Nashville, Tennessee, Wednesday afternoon into the evening. This is the second time in less than a week that Nashville is in a severe weather threat zone. Chattanooga, Wednesday evening. Memphis, Wednesday afternoon. Clarksville, Wednesday afternoon. Cookeville, Wednesday evening. Murfreesboro, Wednesday afternoon into the evening. Jackson, Mississippi, Wednesday afternoon into the evening. New Orleans, Louisiana, Wednesday evening into the overnight. Baton Rouge, same timing. The entire Gulf Coast needs to be alert. Hattiesburg, Wednesday evening. Meridian, Wednesday afternoon. Gulfport and Biloxi, Wednesday evening into the overnight. Tupelo, Wednesday afternoon. Indianapolis, Indiana, Wednesday afternoon. Fort Wayne, Wednesday mid-afternoon. Evansville, Wednesday afternoon into the evening. Terre Haute, Wednesday morning into the afternoon. Muncie, Wednesday afternoon. Bloomington, Indiana, Wednesday afternoon. Louisville, Kentucky, Wednesday afternoon into the evening. Lexington, same window. Bowling Green, mid-afternoon. Owensboro, Wednesday afternoon. Paducah, Wednesday afternoon. Covington, Wednesday evening. Little Rock, Arkansas, Wednesday morning into the afternoon. Fayetteville, Wednesday morning. Fort Smith, Wednesday morning. Pine Bluff, Wednesday afternoon. Huntsville, Alabama, Wednesday afternoon into the evening. Birmingham, Wednesday evening. Montgomery, Wednesday evening into the overnight. Tuscaloosa, Wednesday evening. Dothan, Wednesday overnight. And then the Mid-Atlantic starts to come into play Wednesday evening and overnight. Pittsburgh, Wednesday evening. Morgantown, West Virginia, Wednesday evening. Charleston, West Virginia, Wednesday overnight. Let me be clear about something here. Wednesday is not just a carbon copy of Tuesday. The storm dynamics on Wednesday are different. By Wednesday, the main low-pressure system is deepening rapidly. The wind fields are expanding. That means the severe weather on Wednesday could be more widespread in terms of damaging winds, even if the tornado threat is somewhat lower than Tuesday. But do not take that as a reason to relax. Tornadoes are still possible on Wednesday, especially from Mississippi through Tennessee and into the Ohio Valley. And here is a twist that a lot of people are not expecting. By Thursday, March 12th, as the cold front finally sweeps through, we could see severe storms push into Georgia and South Carolina. Atlanta, Georgia, Thursday afternoon into the evening. Savannah, Thursday evening. Augusta, Thursday afternoon. Macon, Thursday afternoon. Athens, Thursday afternoon. Albany, Georgia, Thursday afternoon into the evening. Valdosta, Thursday evening. Columbia, South Carolina, Thursday afternoon into the evening. Charleston, Thursday evening into the overnight. Greenville, Thursday afternoon. Spartanburg, Thursday afternoon. Florence, Thursday evening. Tallahassee, Florida, Thursday evening. Jacksonville, Florida, Thursday evening into the overnight. Pensacola, Thursday afternoon. You might be surprised to see Florida on this list, but the trailing edge of the front can still produce strong storms as it pushes into the southeast. Roanoke, Virginia, Thursday afternoon. Lynchburg, Thursday afternoon. Charlottesville, Thursday afternoon into the evening. The Shenandoah Valley could see some strong storms as the front pushes through. Raleigh, North Carolina, Thursday late afternoon. Charlotte, Thursday afternoon. Wilmington, Thursday evening. And here is something else about Thursday. As the severe weather pushes into the southeast, the backside of this system is producing something completely different further north. Snow, freezing rain, sleet. The winter weather starts to creep into the picture across the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. Michigan goes from tornado watches earlier in the week to winter weather advisories by Thursday. That is the kind of week we are looking at. And behind all of this severe weather, a cold front is dropping temperatures like a rock. Now let me talk about the flooding threat because this is getting overlooked and it should not be. The Weather Prediction Center has issued a slight risk for excessive rainfall across East Texas, Louisiana, and the lower Mississippi Delta. We are also seeing a marginal risk extending all the way up to western New York State near Lake Ontario. When you get training thunderstorms, storm after storm after storm rolling over the same ground, the rainfall adds up fast. Here are the rainfall totals we are expecting through the end of next week. East Texas, east of Interstate 35, 1 to 3 inches through the weekend alone. More on top of that Tuesday and Wednesday. Louisiana, widespread 1 to 3 inches with locally higher amounts, especially in the northern part of the state. Mississippi, the entire state is looking at 1 to 3 inches, with some areas potentially seeing more. Arkansas, southeastern portions, 1 to 3 inches. Western Alabama, 1 to 2 inches. The Ozarks region across Missouri and Arkansas, 2 to 4 inches over the next 10 days. And up in the Pacific Northwest, Washington and Oregon, the rain totals are even more impressive. The Olympic Mountains could see up to 12 inches of rainfall over the next 10 days. The valleys of Washington and Oregon are looking at several inches. If you are at higher elevations where it is cold enough that rainfall becomes snowfall, and we are talking feet of snow in the Cascades. Now here is where this forecast takes yet another dramatic turn, and this is the part most weather channels are not even talking about yet. So stick with me. After all this severe weather, after all these tornadoes, damaging winds, and flooding rains, winter is making a comeback. In the middle of March, I know that sounds crazy. Michigan just had a violent tornado. Indiana could see temperatures near 80 degrees on Tuesday. But by Thursday, March 12th, a strong cold front blasts through and temperatures crash. Let me show you how dramatic this is going to be. Wednesday morning, March 11th, if you are in Indianapolis or anywhere in central Indiana, you could wake up to temperatures in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Thursday morning, March 12th, you wake up to the mid to upper 20s. That is a 40 to 50 degree drop in 24 hours. That is not a gradual cool down. That is a thermal cliff. And the cold air does not just make a brief appearance, it hangs around, and it gets reinforced. Here is the cold air timeline. Thursday, March 12th, the first shot of cold air arrives behind the severe weather. Temperatures drop 5 to 15 degrees below average across the eastern half of the country. This affects everybody from the Great Lakes to the Gulf Coast. Friday, March 13th, the cold air deepens. The upper Midwest and northern plains feel it the most. Minneapolis could see highs only in the 20s. Chicago drops into the 30s. Even cities like Nashville and Atlanta will feel a noticeable chill compared to the record warmth earlier in the week. Then we get a brief warm-up. Temperatures rebound slightly Saturday into Sunday. But do not be fooled. By the middle of March, around the 15th through the 22nd, a much more significant pattern change is coming. The jet stream reconfigures into what meteorologists call a northwest flow pattern. Cold air from Canada pours southeastward across the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, and into New England. Meanwhile, the western United States stays warm under a persistent ridge of high pressure. And with that northwest flow comes something that will shock a lot of people. Snow. Accumulating snow. In mid-March, let me break down the winter weather threat. The Great Lakes region is first in line. Wisconsin could see significant snowfall. The models are suggesting anywhere from several inches to potentially 2 to 4 feet of snow over the next couple of weeks as multiple storm systems track through. Now that is the extreme end of the models, and we need to see more data before committing to those kinds of numbers. But the pattern recognition is clear. Snow is coming to the Great Lakes, and some of it could be substantial. Michigan, you are in the same boat. After surviving a violent tornado outbreak, you could be dealing with a snowstorm by next weekend. That is March in a nutshell for the Great Lakes. Minnesota, the Dakotas, and the Northern Plains are looking at well below average temperatures and multiple rounds of snow. This is going to feel like January in some spots, and the big storm, the one that has the models really worked up. Around March 15th to the 16th, the GFS model has been consistently showing a very intense winter storm developing. We are talking about a surface low pressure around 980 millibars. For context, that is deep. That is a storm with significant power behind it. The kind of system that could produce blizzard conditions across the upper Great Lakes, heavy snow across Wisconsin, Michigan, and potentially into the Ohio Valley, strong damaging winds across Indiana and Kentucky, and a significant amount of snow extending into the Northeast. Let me give you some specific cities for this potential winter storm. Green Bay, Wisconsin, could see over a foot of snow, maybe much more. Madison, Wisconsin, 6 to 12 inches is not out of the question. Milwaukee, similar range. Wausau, Stevens Point, Eau Claire, these northern Wisconsin cities could see even higher amounts. Grand Rapids, Michigan, heavy snow likely. Traverse City, significant snow. Marquette, up in the Upper Peninsula, they could see over a foot. Lansing, snow. Kalamazoo, snow. And remember, just days before this, some of these same cities were dealing with temperatures in the 60s and severe thunderstorms. In Minnesota, Rochester, Mankato, St. Cloud, all looking at significant snow possibilities. Duluth could get buried. The northern plains are also in the crosshairs. Fargo, Bismarck, Sioux Falls, Pierre, all of these cities need to be watching for significant snow and potentially blizzard conditions with this system. For the Northeast, Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester, you are accustomed to lake effect snow, but this would be a synoptic system on top of any lake enhancement. Albany, Burlington, Vermont, Concord, New Hampshire, Portland, Maine, you could all see significant accumulations. Hartford, Connecticut, and Springfield, Massachusetts are in the zone depending on the exact storm track. Boston is the wild card. If the European model is right and the track is further south, Boston could see a major snowstorm. If the GFS model is right and the track is further north, Boston gets a glancing blow with a few inches. The difference could be between 3 inches and 18 inches, and we will not know which until we get closer. But the setup is there for something significant. The European model is also picking up on this pattern, but places the storm track a little further south, which would mean more snow for New England and less for the Great Lakes. Those are the fine details we need to sort out over the coming days. But the signal for a major winter storm by the middle of March is growing, and let me tell you, 4 consecutive GFS model runs showing essentially the same solution gives me confidence that at minimum a significant storm is going to happen. The details of exactly where the heaviest snow falls are still uncertain, but the storm itself looks increasingly likely. Now let me run through the temperature outlook for specific cities so you know exactly what to expect. For the rest of this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, March 7th and 8th, the warm air ahead of the cold front dominates the eastern United States. New York City, highs near 70 today, mid-60s tomorrow. Boston, upper 60s today, low 60s tomorrow. Philadelphia, low 70s today, mid-60s tomorrow. Washington, District of Columbia, low to mid-70s today, mid-60s tomorrow. Atlanta, mid-70s today, low 70s tomorrow. Miami, low 80s, which is close to normal for you. Tampa, low 80s. Jacksonville, upper 70s. Orlando, low 80s. Charlotte, low 70s today, upper 60s tomorrow. Raleigh, low 70s today, upper 60s tomorrow. Nashville, mid-70s today, upper 60s tomorrow. Memphis, low 70s today, low 70s tomorrow. New Orleans, upper 70s today. Houston, low 80s. Dallas, low 70s today, but storms could impact temperatures. San Antonio, upper 70s. Austin, upper 70s. Oklahoma City, upper 60s today, dropping behind the front. Kansas City, upper 50s today, behind the front. St. Louis, upper 60s today. Chicago, upper 50s today. Detroit, low 50s with storms. Indianapolis, upper 50s with storms. Milwaukee, upper 40s. Minneapolis, low 40s. Denver, upper 40s. Phoenix, mid-80s. Las Vegas, upper 70s. Los Angeles, low 70s. San Francisco, mid-60s. Seattle, upper 40s with rain. Portland, Oregon, low 50s with rain. Salt Lake City, low 50s. Boise, upper 40s. Albuquerque, low 60s. El Paso, upper 70s. Tucson, low 80s. Sacramento, mid-60s. Fresno, upper 60s. San Diego, upper 60s. Reno, mid-40s. Spokane, mid-40s. Billings, Montana, mid-40s. Rapid City, South Dakota, upper 40s. Omaha, low 50s. Lincoln, Nebraska, low 50s. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, upper 40s. Fargo, North Dakota, upper 30s. Still cold up there. Grand Forks, mid-30s. Bismarck, upper 30s. Now here is Tuesday, March 10th, the big severe weather day. These warm temperatures ahead of the storms are part of what fuels the severe weather. Dallas, low 80s. Yes, 80 degrees in March. Oklahoma City, upper 70s. Tulsa, upper 70s. Kansas City, low 70s. Topeka, low 70s. Wichita, mid-70s. Des Moines, low 70s. Omaha, low 70s. Minneapolis, low 60s. Shockingly warm. Chicago, mid-70s. Record territory. Rockford, mid-70s. Springfield, Illinois, upper 70s. Peoria, upper 70s. Indianapolis, upper 70s, close to 80. Fort Wayne, low 70s. Detroit, upper 60s. Columbus, Ohio, low 70s. Cleveland, upper 60s. Cincinnati, upper 70s. Louisville, upper 70s. Nashville, upper 70s. Memphis, upper 70s. Little Rock, upper 70s. Jackson, Mississippi, upper 70s. Birmingham, upper 70s. Atlanta, upper 70s. St. Louis, upper 70s. Milwaukee, upper 60s. South Bend, Indiana, upper 60s. Terre Haute, upper 70s. Evansville, upper 70s. Paducah, Kentucky, upper 70s. Joplin, Missouri, mid-70s. Springfield, Missouri, mid-70s. Fayetteville, Arkansas, mid-70s. Shreveport, Louisiana, upper 70s. Tyler, Texas, low 80s. Waco, Texas, low 80s. Austin, low 80s. San Antonio, low 80s. Houston, low 80s. New Orleans, upper 70s. Baton Rouge, upper 70s. Chattanooga, upper 70s. Huntsville, Alabama, upper 70s. Knoxville, mid-70s. These temperatures are 20 to 30 degrees above average across the eastern half of the country. In some places, we are talking about record-breaking warmth. And every single one of those warm degrees is fuel for the severe weather that fires Tuesday afternoon. Now watch what happens Thursday, March 12th, after the cold front. Chicago drops to the upper 30s for a high. Milwaukee, mid-30s. Minneapolis, mid-20s. Detroit, low 40s. Indianapolis, low 40s. Columbus, mid-40s. Cleveland, low 40s. Cincinnati, upper 40s. St. Louis, upper 40s. Kansas City, upper 40s. Des Moines, upper 30s. Omaha, upper 30s. Nashville, upper 40s. Louisville, upper 40s. Memphis, low 50s. Little Rock, low 50s. Dallas, upper 50s. Down 20-plus degrees from Tuesday. Oklahoma City, upper 40s. Topeka, upper 30s. Springfield, Illinois, low 40s. Peoria, low 40s. South Bend, low 40s. Rockford, upper 30s. Madison, Wisconsin, mid-30s. Green Bay, low 30s. That is a 30 to 40 degree drop from Tuesday to Thursday in most of these cities. In some places, it is closer to a 50-degree drop. Think about that. On Tuesday, you might be wearing shorts and a t-shirt. By Thursday morning, you need a heavy winter coat. If you have outdoor plans, if you are a farmer with crops coming up, if you have pets or livestock, you need to prepare for this swing. Make sure outdoor faucets are covered again. Bring in any plants you have set outside. This is the kind of temperature crash that can catch people off guard because the warm weather lulls them into thinking spring is here to stay. Now let us keep going further out because the pattern gets even wilder. By the middle of March, around the 16th through the 20th, here is what the models are suggesting. Minneapolis, highs possibly in the teens to 20s. That is 15 to 25 degrees below average. Chicago, highs in the upper 20s to low 30s. Milwaukee, low to mid-20s. Green Bay, low 20s. Duluth, single digits to low teens. Detroit, low to mid-30s. Cleveland, low to mid-30s. Buffalo, upper 20s to low 30s. Syracuse, upper 20s. Burlington, Vermont, mid-20s. Portland, Maine, upper 20s. Boston, upper 30s to low 40s. Colder than average. New York City, low to mid-40s. Philadelphia, low to mid-40s. Indianapolis, low to mid-30s. Columbus, mid-30s. Pittsburgh, low to mid-30s. Grand Rapids, Michigan, upper 20s to low 30s. Traverse City, low to mid-20s. Marquette, Michigan, teens. Rochester, New York, upper 20s. Albany, New York, low 30s. Hartford, Connecticut, mid-30s. Providence, Rhode Island, upper 30s. Concord, New Hampshire, upper 20s. Bangor, Maine, mid-20s. Fargo, North Dakota, single digits to teens. Bismarck, teens. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, upper teens to low 20s. Omaha, low to mid-30s. Des Moines, upper 20s to low 30s. Kansas City, upper 30s to low 40s. St. Louis, upper 30s to low 40s. Nashville, mid to upper 40s. Noticeably colder. Louisville, low to mid-40s. Cincinnati, low to mid-40s. These temperatures represent a complete reversal from what we see early in the week. The contrast is going to be jarring for a lot of people. Meanwhile, the western United States stays warm under that ridge. Phoenix, upper 80s, could hit 90. Las Vegas, low 80s. Los Angeles, upper 70s. Sacramento, mid-70s. Denver, the city fluctuates but could see some warmer days in the 50s to 60s. Salt Lake City, 50s to low 60s. Boise, 50s. Albuquerque, upper 60s to low 70s. El Paso, low to mid-80s. Tucson, upper 80s. That contrast between east and west is going to be stark. Record warmth in the desert southwest while the Great Lakes are buried in snow. Now let me touch on something that affects a lot of you, and that is the flooding situation. Many areas across the Deep South and the lower Mississippi Valley have already received heavy rainfall this winter and early spring. The soil is saturated. Rivers and creeks are running high. When you add another several inches of rain from these storm systems, flash flooding becomes a very real threat. Here are the areas I am most concerned about for flooding over the next 7 to 10 days. East Texas, especially east of Interstate 35. Tyler, Longview, Nacogdoches, Lufkin, Beaumont. These areas are going to get hammered. Louisiana. Shreveport, Monroe, Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, New Orleans. The entire state is in the crosshairs for heavy rain. Mississippi, the entire state. Jackson, Meridian, Hattiesburg, Gulfport, Biloxi, Tupelo, Greenville, Vicksburg. Oversaturated soil means even moderate rainfall can cause flooding. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, El Dorado, Texarkana, Hot Springs. The southern half of the state is most at risk. The Ozarks, Springfield, Missouri, Branson, Fayetteville, Arkansas. 2 to 4 inches of rain over the next 10 days could lead to significant creek and river flooding. Western Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Demopolis, Selma. 1 to 2 inches, possibly more. The lower Ohio Valley, Evansville, Indiana, Paducah, Kentucky, Cairo, Illinois. Rising river levels could be a concern. And up north, western New York near Lake Ontario. Rochester, Buffalo, Batavia. There is a marginal risk for excessive rainfall leading to localized flooding. If you live in any of these areas, now is the time to make sure you have a plan. Know your flood zone. Have a way to receive warnings. Do not drive through flooded roads. Turn around. Do not drown. That saying exists because people die every single year trying to drive through floodwaters. It only takes 6 inches of moving water to knock you off your feet. It only takes 12 inches to carry away a small car. And 24 inches of moving water will carry away most trucks and SUVs. If you cannot see the road under the water, do not cross it. Period. Now, one more thing about flooding that people do not think about. Even after the rain stops, rivers continue to rise. It is called crest delay. The rain might end on Wednesday, but the rivers in the lower Mississippi Valley could crest on Thursday or Friday. Downstream communities need to be monitoring river levels even days after the storms pass through. The National Weather Service has river flood forecasts available for every major river gauge in the country. If you live near a creek or river that has flooded in the past, go check those forecasts this weekend. Know your river level. Know what level triggers flooding in your neighborhood. Be proactive, not reactive. All right, now let me pull this all together with a day-by-day summary so you can plan your entire week. Saturday, March 7th. Today, severe weather from Ohio to the Gulf Coast. Tornadoes, damaging winds, large hail. Highest tornado threat from Pittsburgh through central Ohio and into northern West Virginia. Heavy rain from East Texas through the deep south. Flash flood concerns in the Architects region and lower Mississippi Valley. Storms weaken overnight but continue along the Gulf Coast. Sunday, March 8th. Leftover storms across the Gulf Coast in the morning. New threat develops over the Carolinas and southeast Virginia in the afternoon. Charlotte, Raleigh, Virginia Beach most at risk. Lower overall severe threat compared to Saturday. Mainly wind and hail, low tornado risk. Monday, March 9th. A brief lull for most of the country. This is your day to prepare. Charge your devices. Review your severe weather plan. Make sure you have a way to receive tornado warnings, whether that is a weather radio, a smartphone app, or both. If you have a safe room or a basement, make sure the path is clear. If you are in a mobile home, identify a nearby sturdy structure you can get to quickly. Monday is also when you will start to feel the warmth building ahead of Tuesday as storms. Enjoy the nice weather, but use the time wisely. Tuesday, March 10th. The big day. Severe weather erupts from central Texas to the upper Midwest. Storms begin in the Dallas-Fort Worth area by noon to 1 in the afternoon Central Time. Supercells likely from Dallas to Tulsa by early afternoon. The severe weather spreads north and east through the afternoon. Chicago, Rockford, the Quad Cities face a significant tornado threat by late afternoon and evening along the warm front. Northwestern Illinois is the highest risk area for a strong tornado on Tuesday. Kansas City, Topeka, Joplin, Springfield, Missouri, all in the severe zone during the afternoon. Storm energy values around 3,000 joules per kilogram make this a more powerful setup than Friday's outbreak. Storms continue into the overnight across the Midwest and into the Ohio Valley. Wednesday, March 11th. The severe weather shifts east. Ohio Valley, deep south, and potentially the mid-Atlantic are in the threat zone. Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Nashville, Jackson, Mississippi, New Orleans all need to watch for severe storms. Another round of heavy rain compounds flooding concerns. Snow begins on the backside of the system across the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. Thursday, March 12th. The cold front sweeps through the eastern United States. Leftover severe weather possible in Georgia and South Carolina. Atlanta, Columbia, Charleston in the threat zone. Cold air pours in behind the front. Temperatures crash across the Midwest and Ohio Valley. Snow possible across the upper Great Lakes and New England. Friday, March 13th through the following week. Cold air dominates the eastern United States. Multiple rounds of snow possible across the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and New England. A major winter storm potentially develops around March 15th to 16th. Blizzard conditions possible in Wisconsin, Michigan, and the upper Great Lakes. The western United States stays warm. This pattern holds into the third week of March. Now, I want to speak directly to certain regions because each one has a unique set of threats this week. If you are in Texas, you are dealing with severe weather today and again on Tuesday. The hail threat is especially high for you. Make sure vehicles are in the garage if you have one. Large hail can total a car in minutes. A single hailstone the size of a baseball traveling at terminal velocity can punch through a windshield. Flash flooding is a major concern east of Interstate 35. After the storms, you actually warm up significantly before a cooler pattern arrives later in the week. Cities to watch in Texas include Dallas, Fort Worth, Waco, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Tyler, Longview, Nacogdoches, Lufkin, Beaumont, Amarillo, Lubbock, Midland, Odessa, Abilene, and El Paso. The western portions of the state stay drier, but anything east of the Interstate 35 corridor is in the threat zone at various points this week. If you are in Oklahoma, you just experienced devastating tornadoes on Friday. And I am sorry to tell you this, but Tuesday brings another severe weather threat to your state. Oklahoma City, Tulsa, the northeast part of the state, you need to be ready. Norman, Lawton, Stillwater, Enid, Bartlesville, Muskogee, McAllister, Durant, all of you need to be paying attention Tuesday afternoon. Have multiple ways to receive warnings. Do not rely solely on outdoor sirens. They are designed for people who are outside, not for waking you up at night. And Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, storms could still be ongoing. If you are in the Midwest, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Missouri, this is your week to be on high alert. Tuesday is the biggest concern. The warm front creates an especially dangerous setup across northern Illinois and northwest Indiana. But Wednesday brings another round as the system pushes east, and then by the end of the week you transition from near record warmth to potential snowfall. The temperature whiplash will be extreme. Every major city in the Midwest is affected at some point this week. Chicago, Indianapolis, Des Moines, St. Louis, Kansas City, Milwaukee, Omaha, Minneapolis, Springfield, Peoria, Rockford, Davenport, Cedar Rapids, Columbia, Jefferson City, Topeka, Wichita. Nobody in the Midwest gets a free pass this week. If you are in the Ohio Valley, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, you have threats today and again Wednesday. Today's tornado threat is focused on central and eastern Ohio. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Columbus, Akron, Canton, Youngstown, Cincinnati, Dayton, Toledo, all of you are in the threat zone today. Wednesday brings the next round as the severe weather shifts your direction. Louisville, Lexington, Bowling Green, Covington, Paducah, Charleston, West Virginia, Morgantown, Huntington all need to be watching Wednesday. Flooding is a growing concern with repeated rounds of heavy rain. If you are in the Deep South, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, you are going to get pounded with rain this week. Severe weather today, potentially Monday in parts of Louisiana and Mississippi, and then again Wednesday. Flash flooding is a very real danger. Birmingham, Huntsville, Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, Mobile, Jackson, Meridian, Hattiesburg, Gulfport, Biloxi, Tupelo, Greenville, Vicksburg, Natchez, Shreveport, Monroe, Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, New Orleans. All of these cities need to be prepared for heavy rain and severe storms. On top of that, some of these storms will be capable of producing tornadoes, especially on Wednesday along the cold front. If you are in the southeast, Georgia, the Carolinas, Virginia, your threats are more spread out. Today and tomorrow for the Carolinas and Virginia. Thursday for Georgia and South Carolina. The severe weather threat is lower than what the Midwest and Deep South face, but it is not zero. Stay weather aware. If you are in the Northeast, New York, Pennsylvania, New England, you get storms today with some severe potential. Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, Albany, Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Philadelphia, Scranton, all in the threat zone this afternoon and evening. Then it quiets down for a few days before the cold air arrives late in the week. By the middle of March, you could be dealing with significant snow, possibly even a nor'easter. The European model has been hinting at a major snow event for New England around March 15th to 17th. If that verifies, Boston, Hartford, Providence, Portland, Maine, Burlington, Vermont, Concord, New Hampshire, Springfield, Massachusetts, and Bangor, Maine could see significant accumulations. Even New York City and Philadelphia could see some snow on the periphery of this system depending on the exact track. The last thing the Northeast needs right now is a major snowstorm, but the pattern is pointing in that direction. If you are in the Great Lakes, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, buckle up. You go from severe weather to blizzard potential in the span of 1 week. Michigan, you experienced a violent tornado yesterday and could see heavy snow within 10 days. Grand Rapids, Traverse City, Marquette, Lansing, Kalamazoo, Saginaw, Flint, all of you could go from short-sleeve weather to shoveling snow in less than a week. Wisconsin, the models are suggesting multiple feet of snow over the next couple of weeks. Green Bay, Madison, Milwaukee, Eau Claire, Wausau, Stevens Point, La Crosse, Appleton, Oshkosh all need to be monitoring this closely. That sounds extreme, and it is. We need more data to confirm those numbers, but the pattern strongly supports significant snowfall for the Great Lakes. Minnesota, you are not escaping this either. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester, Mankato, St. Cloud, Duluth, all looking at well below average temperatures and the potential for heavy snow. Stock up on supplies early in the week while the weather is nice. If you are in the Pacific Northwest, Washington and Oregon, you have your own storm train to deal with. Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, Portland, Salem, Eugene, all looking at periods of rain throughout the week. Heavy rain in the valleys, heavy snow in the mountains. The Cascades could see feet of snow, which is great news for the ski resorts and for the snowpack that feeds summer water supplies. The Olympic Mountains might see up to 12 inches of rain over the next 10 days. That is an enormous amount of water. Flooding is possible in the valleys, especially along rivers that are already running high from the winter melt. The Chehalis River, the Snoqualmie River, the Skagit River, all of these are ones to watch. Bellingham, Everett, Aberdeen, Centralia, keep your eye on river levels this week if you are in the west. California, Arizona, Nevada, the desert Southwest, the Intermountain West, you are the winners this week weather-wise. Warm, dry conditions under a persistent ridge of high pressure. Phoenix could flirt with 90 degrees by mid-month. Las Vegas in the upper 70s to low 80s. Los Angeles in the 70s. San Diego, upper 60s to low 70s and beautiful. Sacramento, Fresno, Bakersfield, all warm and dry. Reno, you might see some wind, but otherwise dry. Enjoy it, but keep an eye on fire weather conditions. Dry air and warm temperatures with occasional gusty winds can elevate fire danger, especially in Southern California, where brush fires can start quickly. Santa Ana winds are not in the forecast right now, but the warm, dry pattern means fire conditions could elevate later in the month if the ridge persists. Stay aware. If you are in the Northern Plains, the Dakotas, Nebraska, Montana, you are right on the boundary between the warm and cold air masses. Temperatures are going to be all over the place. Fargo, Bismarck, Grand Forks, Minot, Sioux Falls, Pierre, Rapid City, North Platte, Scottsbluff, Billings, Great Falls, Missoula. You could see record warmth early in the week, followed by an Arctic blast by the middle of the month. Some of these cities could see a 70-degree temperature swing in the span of 5 days. Snow is coming for you, and it could be significant. If you are a rancher or farmer in the Northern Plains, this is a critical week to protect calves and livestock. If you are in Alaska, the cold pattern that has been gripping the state continues through mid-March. Anchorage, Fairbanks, Juneau, all well below average temperatures. This is not going to change anytime soon. Bundle up, Alaska. And I want to mention a few more cities that people always ask about in the comments because I know you are watching from all over the country. Savannah, Georgia, you have a Thursday threat, mid to upper 70s. Before that, enjoy the warmth. Tallahassee, Florida, Thursday evening threat from the trailing cold front. Jacksonville, same. The rest of Florida, Tampa, Orlando, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, you are mostly in the clear this week. Warm and pleasant with typical March showers. Key West, nothing to worry about weather-wise this week. Anchorage, Alaska, and Honolulu, Hawaii, I have not forgotten about you. Hawaii looks tropical and pleasant all week, which is exactly what you expect. No significant weather concerns for the islands. For the Mountain West, Cheyenne, Casper, Jackson Hole, you could see some snow from the passing systems, but nothing like what the Great Lakes and Upper Midwest are facing. The bigger story for you is wind. Gusty winds are common in Wyoming this time of year, and the passing storm systems will enhance those gusts. Now, let me talk about some of the more unusual aspects of this pattern, because there are some things happening that do not happen very often, and understanding why this pattern is unusual helps you understand why I am giving it this much attention. First, the temperature extremes. Having mid to upper 70s in northern Illinois in mid-March is remarkable. We are talking about temperatures that are 20 to 30 degrees above the long-term average. These are temperatures you would normally see in mid-May, not early March. Having those temperatures exist just 3 hours south of snowfall is even more remarkable. That kind of thermal gradient is what fuels violent tornadoes. It is the atmosphere in conflict, warm tropical air smashing into cold Arctic air, and the results can be devastating. The stronger the temperature contrast, the stronger the wind shear, and the stronger the potential tornadoes. This is textbook severe weather setup, and it is one of the strongest we have seen this early in the season. Second, the speed of the pattern change. Going from record warmth to potential blizzard conditions in less than a week is extreme, even by March standards. March is always a battleground month for weather, the tug-of-war between winter and spring, but this is aggressive even for March. Most years, the transition from warm to cold happens gradually over a week or two. This year, it is happening in 72 hours. That speed amplifies every threat. The severe weather is more intense because of the contrast. The flooding is worse because the warm air pulls in more moisture before the cold arrives. The winter storm is stronger because of how rapidly the cold air mass crashes southward. Third, the potential for a 980 millibar surface low in mid-March. To put that in everyday terms, the lower the pressure, the stronger the storm. A typical strong storm might have a central pressure around 990 to 1,000 millibars. 980 is the kind of pressure you see in a Category 1 hurricane. We are not talking about a hurricane, obviously, but that gives you a sense of how intense this low-pressure system could be. If that verifies, it would be a historically significant storm for the Great Lakes. Strong damaging winds alone from that system could cause widespread tree damage and power outages across Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin, even without considering the snow. Winds gusting over 50 miles per hour are possible well away from the center of the low. Near the center, gusts could exceed 65 miles per hour. Fourth, the drought situation. Many areas across the southern plains and the deep south have been in drought. The heavy rain from these storm systems will help with drought conditions, which is a silver lining. But too much rain too fast creates flash flooding, so it is a double-edged sword. We need the rain, but we need it spread out, and that is not what we are going to get. These storms are going to dump everything at once. Fifth, and this is the one that concerns me most from a human safety perspective, the pattern of repeated severe weather events hitting the same areas. Northeast Oklahoma was hit on Friday and faces another threat on Tuesday. Michigan was hit Friday and faces severe weather again early in the week before transitioning to winter weather. Mississippi and the Deep South are getting pounded day after day after day. When communities get hit repeatedly in a short window, the response infrastructure gets overwhelmed. Storm shelters are damaged. Power lines are already down. First responders are already stretched thin. The cumulative impact of multiple events is far greater than any single event alone. That is why this week requires extra vigilance and extra preparation. All right, I have covered a lot of ground here. Let me give you one more thing before I wrap up. Here is your preparation checklist. These are things you can do right now to be ready. I am going to go through each one because every single one of these matters. Charge all devices, your phone, your tablets, any backup battery packs. facts. When severe weather hits, power outages happen. You need your phone to receive warnings. If you have a portable charger, charge that too. Think about how long you might be without power and plan accordingly. Download a reliable weather app if you do not already have one. Make sure alerts are turned on for your location. Enable tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, and flash flood warnings at minimum. Do not silence your phone overnight on Tuesday and Wednesday. That notification buzz could save your life. If you have a NOAA weather radio, make sure it has fresh batteries and is programmed for your county. If you do not have one, consider getting one this weekend. They cost about $20 to $40 and they will alert you even when the power is out and your phone is dead. They are the gold standard for receiving weather warnings. Review your safe place. Basement, interior room on the lowest floor, away from windows. A closet or bathroom in the center of the house is ideal if you do not have a basement. If you are in a mobile home, know where the nearest sturdy building is and have a plan to get there. Mobile homes are not safe in tornadoes. Even a weak tornado can destroy a mobile home. You must have an alternative shelter identified before the storms hit. Do not wait until the warning is issued to figure this out. Have a flashlight ready, not on your phone. A real flashlight with batteries. Your phone battery is precious during a power outage. Do not waste it being a flashlight. Put shoes near your bed. If a tornado hits your home at night, there will be glass, nails, and debris everywhere. You do not want to be walking through that barefoot. Shoes by the bed could prevent a serious injury. If you are in a flood-prone area, know your evacuation routes now, not when the water is rising. Have important documents in a waterproof container or bag. Know where you would go if you had to leave quickly. For the winter weather threat later in the week and into next week, make sure you have supplies if you are in the Great Lakes, Upper Midwest, or New England. Snowfall with strong winds can create blizzard conditions that make travel impossible. Stock up on groceries, medications, and essentials before Thursday. If you depend on electricity for heat, have a backup plan. Know where warming shelters are in your community. If you have outdoor animals or livestock, have a plan for both severe weather and the cold snap. Animals that were comfortable outside in 60-degree weather on Tuesday will need protection from sub-freezing wind chills by Thursday night. Keep your vehicle fuel tank at least half full this week. If power goes out and gas stations cannot pump, you do not want to be running on empty. Also, if you need to evacuate from flooding, a full tank gives you options. Fill up on Monday while the weather is calm. Now here is what is coming next. Tomorrow, I will have an updated video with the latest model data for Tuesday as severe weather outbreak. The models will have another 12 to 24 hours of data by then, and we will be able to narrow down the timing and locations even further. I am also going to break down the exact tornado threat zones with much more precision for Tuesday, because as the data comes in, the picture gets clearer. Tomorrow's video is going to be the one you show your family and say, this is what we need to prepare for. You do not want to miss it. And here is something I am watching very closely that I have not mentioned until now. There is a chance, and I want to be careful with this because it is still uncertain, that the severe weather on Tuesday could be upgraded to a moderate risk or even a high risk by the Storm Prediction Center. Right now, we are at a day 4 outlook with a 15% probability. But the way the models are trending, with increasing storm energy, increasing wind shear, and a very favorable jet stream pattern, the risk level could go up significantly by Monday. If that happens, it would put Tuesday in the same category as some of the most significant severe weather outbreaks we have seen in recent years. I will have all the details in tomorrow's video. And later in the week, I am going to do a deep dive on that potential major winter storm around March 15th to 16th. The models have been remarkably consistent on this, and if it verifies, it is going to be a historic storm for parts of the country. We are talking about a storm that could bring blizzard conditions to cities that were 80 degrees just days earlier. That kind of extreme is rare, and it deserves its own dedicated video with all the details. You are not going to want to miss that one either. So make sure you are subscribed. Hit that notification bell so you get alerted the moment I post. And again, drop a comment telling me your city and state. I will give you a personalized forecast for your area. I read every single comment, and I want to make sure you have the information you need. Tell me where you are watching from. Tell me what you are most worried about this week, and I will address it. If you found this video helpful, share it. Post it on your social media. Text the link to your friends and family. The algorithms only show this to more people if you engage with it. And right now, getting this information to as many people as possible could literally save lives. This is a week where weather awareness could be the difference between life and death. 3 people lost their lives yesterday in Union City, Michigan. We honor them by taking this seriously, by preparing, by making sure our families know what to do, and by sharing this information with the people we care about. Share this video with someone in the threat zone. Send it to your mom in Illinois. Send it to your brother in Oklahoma. Send it to your friend in Mississippi. Send it to your neighbor, your coworker, your church group. The more people who know what is coming, the safer we all are. One last thing. March is the transition month. It is the month where winter fights for its last breath while spring tries to take over. And this week, that battle is going to be fought harder than almost any March in recent memory. Tornadoes and blizzards in the same 7-day period. Record warmth and Arctic cold in the same week. This is what March does, and this is why we stay vigilant. Stay safe out there this week, America. Prepare today, stay alert too.